This is my reflective statement for ETP 410. This assignment has been really interesting in terms of forcing myself to delve into the idea of assessment, whether that just be, your day-to-day assessing in a classroom or you've got your big external tests. First time I thought critically of assessment when I was actually partaking in my own education, that being my senior years in BCE. I remember I was in a class with a student who was not particularly, your book smart student, but he was able to answer any question or make different chemicals to design wherever he wanted to in class. You come your written tests or your exams or something like that, he was fairly incapable, for lack of a better word. I knew he was a lot more advanced in his studies than myself, yet I was receiving the higher scores purely because of his poor literacy skills and putting pen to paper. I remember thinking, this is working out fine for me, I'm getting the grades I want, but this other guy definitely is not being given his proper chance to show what he knows, to prove his understandings. So I was just thinking this isn't fair. And now at university we talk about all these different types of learners, how assessment should encompass all students, to get the best out of everyone. But, a lot's changed, but there's so much that hasn't. When we look at the high stakes testing, so I've talked about NAPLAN in this assignment, and, when I talk about it with other educators, there's a lot more negatives than positives in the conversation. That's because it still encompasses just a few types of learners. It doesn't change. The results that are being released at the end of the year are given to a teacher who's got 2 months to rectify any weaknesses that have been shown. And, these tests just have such an input to what changes are implemented with the curriculum. And despite the fact, some learners aren't even being given a proper opportunity to show what they're learning. And they might just sit there and write on a page, but they might be better with the hands-on stuff. I believe that students should have a proper chance to present their learning however they choose what's best for them. Of course, with boundaries, but I feel the inquiry unit at my placement was a good example of this, as discussed in this assignment as well, in the case study. The inquiry unit provided a range of activities over the course of the assessment that included, exploration, critical thinking, encouraged deeper learning, discussion, social skills, literacy, numeracy, research and technological skills. With all these other factors included, it really gives, your leading teacher a chance to look at each individual student, how they learn, what they've learned. Assessment is a very contested subject in the education system, but I believe that it needs to actively involve more learning types on a national scale rather than just in your one classroom or your one school. You got your DET and the Montessori assessment systems, which both have their strengths, but both have ways to go in terms of adapting to every type of learner and getting the best out of all of your students, not just a handful. This becomes only harder as students get older. Like when I was in BCE, as I was saying before, every student is expected to show learning by doing sit-down tests. At least in the junior levels in the classroom teacher can play around with how they assess their own students' learning, which is why I enjoy primary education more, so you can feel more rewarded by seeing each student flourish in their own way of learning, pretty much. Thanks.